and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
And that's so sad. KKK. Young, I got old cash, spazzing on they ass. I got Prada on my ass. Got my lab one mad, popping like a damn tag. Shopping on they ass. I just bought a new old Jag. Yeah, it's so fast. Smoking flow, you a jackass. All I smoke is gas. Don't you ask me where the pole at, where your clothes at. I ain't talking about my damn, but y'all tripping too. Is it you? Damn, my but what the hell got into you? Project baby, y'all was skipping in the hallway. I was skipping school. On my P's and Q's, on them jiggers, call me Jigaboo. Bleeding concrete, bet you won't come across the street. Pardon me, I don't talk to you, so don't you talk to me. I ain't
Hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Little Kodak Black bringing us in for hour 3. You know, the crazy thing about Kodak Black, he's talented. But, listen, he's also troubled. So, welcome back to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. You know, the show where we hit all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. Of course, Jill Munroe is left the building for the night, and you are left with Cruella. I really wanted to give you guys my British accent for this. I feel like it would affect the whole thing much better, but it's bad. It's not really good. I can't do it because I don't really have one. I'm trying to establish one, and I'm not sure if it's like British or Irish or what is it doing. Little LA Valley girl, I don't know what's going on with it. It's just not quite there. It's not there. At any rate, welcome in. As always, it's the after hours. So, you know, we get into some things that are a little controversial, a little more dangerous. Not really dangerous, but you know. So before I get into this Kodak Black story, right, I have to share with you guys this because, yeah, I thought it was interesting. Why not? So, okay, we know that the bodyguards, that's what I'm, referring to, Gene Dial and all of those random people that have gotten a second wind in their career by going on podcast. And I mean, hey, everybody has a story. Can't say too much about telling it, but recently Gene came out of the blue, conveniently, with a story about Will and Jada that concerns Diddy and his days dating J-Lo. So basically, Gene Dial said that back in the day, he had to stop Diddy from beating up Will Smith. Once again, a rapper with a harder aesthetic. Will allegedly is doing things that they feel are inappropriate. Allegedly. So this is what Gene said happened. Gene said that Will and Jada were trying to get at J-Lo and try and get her involved in a little menage a trois situation, get her wrapped up, and that Diddy was pissed off, and Gene had to stop Diddy from beating up Will. Well, Diddy was recently on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and looks like Jimmy's research staff, or he himself, has been hitting the blogs up because Jimmy decided to ask Diddy about the story. This is what he said. He said, I saw a guy on the internet the other day who said he used to be your security guard. He said that while you were dating J-Lo, Will and Jada tried to pick her up for a threesome and you were going to beat Will up. Is that true? Diddy stared at Jimmy for a long time and he was like, what happened to this show? He was like, I don't know what you were talking about, Jimmy. I thought we were friends. So Diddy is saying nothing like that ever happened. He doesn't know where it came from. My question is, we've heard a lot of stories from Gene Dial over these past few years. Shout out to Pretty Brown Mimi in the chat. Side note, she's asking where my Dalmatian is. Right here, dog. Where my dog's at? Woof, woof. We got it. Right here with her bone leash. We are in the building. Do we trust Gene Dial? How many of his stories do we believe are factual at this point? And because many of them are 20 years and, you know, I have a great memory, so I don't assume that others don't as well. But how many of these stories do we think that Gene is putting a little mustard on the hot dog, that he's adding a little bit in? Do we think that everything is the truth? Or are we like, you want to make yourself interesting so people will keep asking? I mean, obviously, the only person that can verify the story is J-Lo. And J-Lo is on her own mission. She's off with Ben Affleck. She's not thinking about the puffy years. I don't think she even really referenced them. The closest we got was, I think that was during the pandemic when Diddy was salsaing around to J-Lo's music. And I think he interviewed her. And at that time, she was still dating A-Rod. So, you know, I don't know. That sounds like a tall tale, a fable, if you will. I don't know if we can really trust that that went down, but you know, sounds good. It's entertaining at the very, very least. Okay, so Andy brought us back with Kodak Black, right? He's a rapper out of Florida. If you haven't heard of him, Haitian kid. Did I call him a kid? I did. I guess because I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He seems to have gone through a lot, still continues to be going through a lot. And his recent appearance on the Drink Champs podcast with Noor sparked a lot of concern. Kodak, he talks about it in his music. He's posted on Instagram Lives, him sipping syrup, looking almost passed out. We know he's done jail time for various things. And people were concerned about the interview. Why? We'll get into that on the other side. We'll give you all the details. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. So minivans, sedans, JDMs, roll out. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. And with eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look, and unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at the gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Single Moms Planet is a nonprofit organization dedicated to uplifting under-resourced single mom business owners and working mothers nationwide. Single Moms Planet offers comprehensive programs of financial literacy, business development, mentorship, and entrepreneurial training. They provide education, accountability, and hope. Single Moms Planet was founded by model, TV personality, and producer Nefertari Plessy. Nefertari felt firsthand the challenges that face single moms as she was raised by a working single mother. She learned that the most disadvantaged group in the United States are single mom families. According to the U.S. Census, 30% live under the poverty line. So she decided to do something about it, along with co-founder Cole Patterson. Their goal is to end the poverty cycle in single mother households through education, opportunity, and networking, providing family and child enrichment programs for under-resourced single-parent families. Single Moms Planet serves over 10,000 single moms and their children each year. Studies show that business development and financial literacy provide a positive environment for children and families, exposing them to new possibilities and opportunities. To attend one of their fun events, make a donation, or get more information, or if you need help as a single mom, please visit singlemomsplanet.org. That's singlemomsplanet.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we were talking about Kodak Black and his recent appearance on Drink Champs. So obviously the point of the show is to get twisted, right? To knock him back. But people were concerned that it seemed that there was more than alcohol going on with Kodak. Now, granted, his speaking voice sometimes can be a little indistinguishable, right? But he maintains that there's nothing wrong with him. Well, Ray J didn't agree with that. And he put out a post basically saying that somebody needs to help Kodak. He was concerned. He said, somebody needs to grab bro and make sure he's good. This ain't the interview, Nor. We got to help this dude. I took him to Trump's house and he did the most. They were not happy with the experience because he had no guidance and respect. Yo, Whack 100, we know that's Ray J's manager, and I don't even know what to call Whack. He's very involved in lots of hip-hop stuff. Let's figure out how we can help this guy instead of watching him self-destruct. So a lot of the pushback from people was that they felt that Nori was taking advantage of Kodak in putting that out there, that it was just for clicks. And this is something that has been levied at Nori before. Remember when he aired that Kanye interview and some of those salacious comments, they were on there. And so people think that, it's not being sensitive or aware of what's going on with someone. And that as someone that is also a rapper, he, meaning Nori, should have been more sensitive to it. So I feel like Ray J reaching out was being sincere, but Kodak Black did not. He actually on Sunday said in a video, and we're not going to play that one because it's a lot of bleeps and I don't think you'd understand it anyway. He said, Ray J, you little B, homie, N-word don't need you to help. I'm straight, and I'm leaving out some words because just got to. I'm straight, dumb boy. What's wrong with you, homie? I'll beat your... You ain't have nothing to do with that Trump stuff. This person wanted to go to Mar-a-Lago. You don't know me. I be hating that. You a boosting... These are all bleeps, right? You want to just go viral when you could have just called me or DM me or something. Fair, but I do think the message wasn't just to Kodak. I think it was also calling out Nor in a minute about maybe taking some care in how we present our peers. I don't know if it's right because I guess at this point, Nor is a journalist. So, he should be what? Impartial, maybe? He shouldn't be concerned about that. It's just what happened. But Ray J responded pretty calmly for Ray J. And he was like, yo, look, I'll fight you. Let's fight for charity. Because you know why? In order to do that, you'd have to get cleaned up to get in the ring. He said, I'll take the fade if it means that you get clean to do it. Right? Because, Kodak also called him broke. And, Ray J's like, broke, well, we got Raytronics popping off over here, dog. But whether or not you think Ray J was doing it for clout or whatever, I mean, is there clout to be gained off of Kodak Black? I don't really think so. Although Kodak did say that if Donald Trump needed $1 million, he would happily give it to him because he pardoned him out of jail. So maybe there is. Maybe we'll see it more. But I think that it's just a general concern. It was a lot of people saying it, and a lot of people noticed it. Well, Kodak had a response, again, and an explanation for his state on Drink Champs. So we're going to play a little of it. I don't know how much you're going to be able to decipher, but we're going to play a little of it just so you can hear sort of what Kodak's currently on.
Like when they kind of like judging me or getting low impression before y'all make a, like I'm saying, y'all idea or whatever, make up y'all mind on how y'all, what you calling it. Don't just go off.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Or even like, never heard somebody say like, believe nothing you hear and like half of what you see too, cause looks could be deceiving. And especially when in context like me, like.
So, I don't know how much of that you could decipher. He said looks can be deceiving. He said Drink Champs is a show about drinking. He said he only took 2 shots. He sounded a little more coherent here. So, you can just imagine how he sounded on the broadcast. Here's the thing. Kodak admittedly uses some substances, right? And we've seen him drop a lot of weight. We have seen him look a little questionable on social media. So is it a mind your business thing? Or, is it going to be something that after the fact, everyone's like, man, we should have done more thoughts and prayers should something happen to him? I think that, I know that obviously it started way back with the Chronic. But back then, I can't remember who made this joke or who said it, but they were like, in the early days of hip hop, we, meaning the rappers, not me, of course, we were the dealers. When did we switch to the users? And if you really think about hip hop in the course and some of the things that it started off with, especially thinking about the rise of hip hop, a lot of it was so closely connected to the crack game and seeing what it was doing in our streets. And you think of songs like Public Enemy, Night of the Living Bassheads, and, I was just thinking about High C. I don't know if you remember High C. He was down back in the day with, I think, who was High C down with? Was he a part of Quick and Second to None and those guys, or was it before that? At any rate, he was a West Coast rapper. He had a song called I'm Not Your Puppet. And the whole song was about him dealing with a woman who was a strawberry. And strawberry back in the day was what you called a woman who was a crackhead. Crackhead is offensive, huh? I probably shouldn't say that. Who was suffering from, drug addiction and were selling their bodies on the street for a hit of The Rock. He had a song about that, dealing with the woman. Also, I think, was it MC Light that talked about in one of her earlier songs, the guy she was dealing with had a drug problem. So it's just very different now when we see sort of addiction being celebrated in our rhymes and things like that. So I also think that when you think about entertainment, especially musicians, It's late, you guys. When you think about musicians, though, them being so closely tied with addiction, and we've had a lot of deaths related to that. And so I think that, listen, whatever he says publicly is what he says publicly, and you hope that is the case. But if it is not, I do hope there is someone in his circle or in his corner that will gently pull his coattails because, we don't want to see another young rapper death, no matter how you feel about Kodak Black. He's been accused of some pretty grimy things, yeah. And obviously, we're not ignoring that, but that's it. Shout out to Aubrey Sinclair, Poor Georgie from MC Light. I couldn't think of the title of it. I met him on Monday. Anyway, that's how it starts off. I'm not right in my pocket right now, but I could be. Don't test me, because my alter ego in my mind is a rapper, and what I mostly do at karaoke is rap songs and then some certain ballads. But, I just think that it's nothing wrong with reaching out. And I'm not mad that he did it over social media. And even if Kodak Black is mad, I'm glad that someone went on record to kind of speak up for him, or at least try and help them. So that's it on that topic. Good luck to you, Kodak. And please add captions to your videos so that we can understand what you are saying. And we get the full effect, because I don't know, people. Okay. So, Northwest. She is the daughter of Kanye and Kim. I talked about she and Kim's mommy-daughter Halloween costume earlier. They went as Dion and Cher from Clueless. North with her friends, they went as the Cheetah Girls. Thought that was super cute, that you're dressing up as your almost aunts, because, Rob dated one of the Cheetah Girls, Adrienne Bailon. So thought that was a cute little thing. I don't know if that was the connection to it. Probably not, but I just thought it was cute. North is a trip. We like North's TikTok. We know North will not hesitate to put Kim in her place, and she's a smart young lady. And recently, ID Magazine gave her the cover, right? And they did an interview with her. North, by the way, is 10 years old, but she's coming. So what she talked about is wanting to take over both of her parents' business and everything that she wants to do in life. I must say, it was a cute interview, and I think, people often talked about when North was little, she was a mean little girl. She definitely has her dad's personality, and you can see her dad's influence all through this interview. So they asked her what her favorite song was right now, and she said it's Through the Wire by her dad. She says that she likes singing and performing is her favorite. Obviously, we see that on her TikTok. They asked, what do you think the thing is that you get? They asked her, did she think that she got performing from her family? She said sometimes, but it's all her. So she's like, don't give my parents credit. I'm me. She said maybe a little from her dad. When they asked her what she wanted to do when she grows up, she said, I want to be a basketball player, a rapper. She said, but when I was 7, I wanted to be a boxer. But now I don't want to be a boxer. I'm going to do that on the side. And then when I turn 13, I want to walk dogs to make money to buy art supplies because everything is so expensive. So a rapper, a basketball player, make art that I sell. And one day she wants to own Yeezys and Skims. So clearly, she is a product of her parents with ambitions to take over the world. I do like the fact, though, and I think it should be noted, that she talked about wanting to start her own business, but a dog walking business. Ruff, ruff, stay away from Cruella tonight. At any rate, I think it's important because it also shows that they are giving her values around money, and she knows that it's something that has to be earned. And even though she is obviously a wealthy child, she seems to have some type of work ethic attached to her. And I know people talk about Kim and her famous, nobody wants to work these days. Everybody wants things handed to them. But I have to say, I agreed with Kim. People are a tad bit lazy, just a tad. And, I think it's good that they are instilling a work ethic, that they understand the value of putting in work. Because I'm sure it's hard to keep that balance when your lifestyle is so wealthy. Terry in the chat said, if drugs can kill Matthew Perry, the white young man that just died this week, then I don't know what his next statement is. I guess it's just a warning. But it is true. I mean, once you kind of delve into drug addiction, it's a hard thing to shake, and it can keep control of you for years. What I will say, though, is that we don't know Matthew Perry's cause of death. We know that, we believe it's an accidental drowning, but they won't have the results back from the autopsy for a couple weeks or so. So we don't know that was his cause of death. We just know that at one point in his life, addiction was a very strong thing. But back to Kodak and Ray J. Do you think that this will really end up happening? I mean, Ray J does have a relationship with Zeus Network. He has produced shows over there. Zeus recently did a celebrity boxing match. So, I mean, it is something that could happen. And he does have a point. If was a fifth, you'd have a sip. If Kodak took it seriously and took his health seriously and got in shape for it, maybe it could have the desired effect. But right now, doesn't seem like Kodak is feeling anything that Ray J has to offer. He's not picking up what he's putting down, and he's just going to bypass that. But keep in mind, this is also the same guy that said in the same interview when asked why he did a song with rapper 6ix9ine, who is considered a snitch, also accused of some pretty grimy things, and his reputation was shot. He was considered as sort of baiting and trolling dangerous situations, the gang situation in Chicago, things of that nature. He was asked why he got on a record with him, and he was like, the dough, I don't care about that snitching stuff. And so some, Meek Mill being one, doesn't feel that Kodak has an honor system. As a matter of fact, Meek Mill even said, I don't want to be a rapper anymore because of that. Meek Mill is comedy. But, and really, I think Meek has already started his trek onto his next career path. Social justice champion, with his reform movement. How's that Rick Ross and Meek album doing? Has anybody listened to it? Any bangers? Oh, it hasn't dropped yet? Okay. I thought it came out. Because I'm like, I haven't heard too much about it. And I like Rick Ross. Like I said, he gives opulence. And Meek Mill can give energy. I'm curious to see what they put together with each other. And if it doesn't go anywhere, kind of what does that mean for Meek and Rick? Because we are definitely at a transition as far as hip-hop. Listen, when we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Sorry, boo. Yeah, I lied to you, but don't you lie to me. It's Lil Kodak, the finesse kid. Boy, who hide is me. Told the doctor I'm a healthy kid. I smoke broccoli. I will run around your boy like Monopoly. Oh boy, you's a
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says in all his years as a New Yorker, he's never seen the level of outward hate displayed in the city since war broke out between Israel and Hamas. It comes as the NYPD sees an uptick in anti-Semitic crimes, with at least 33 reported in the first 3 weeks of October. Adams, who is black, says New Yorkers have an awesome responsibility to lift up the city during this extremely challenging time. An Alabama man is facing charges for allegedly threatening Fulton County's district attorney and sheriff. Investigators say the suspect left expletive-filled threats on the county's customer service line directed toward Sheriff Pat Labatt and Black DA Fonnie Willis just before former President Donald Trump was indicted in Fulton County. Trump and a handful of others are accused of meddling in Georgia's 2020 election. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 five-star reviews and an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
Thinking about hosting a podcast and don't know where to start? Morris Media Studios has you covered. We're a professional podcast and voiceover studio located in Leimert Park. We specialize in recording and live streaming audio and video podcasts. Let us help you set up, record, and distribute your podcast. Hosting a podcast is a great way to bring awareness to your business, product, or good cause. For more info, visit morrismediastudios.com or give us a call at 323-815-4204.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer Wet Jet works fast too. Swiffer Wet Jet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer Wet Jet and just spray, push, all clean.
Hey Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
What is this? Maybach music. I like this Maybach music. Sweet.
Wanna see you lose when you're making moves. We bringing tools in any rooms, we try to break the rules. Haters, they ain't goons, we try to make a fool. I never thought I'd make fours before I made the news. Having a threesome with some, this still ain't the muse. I pick and choose, put on my juices like I lit the fuse. I call the shots and all the killers be like, what's the move? 100 grand, you and your little man, getting split in two. My life got way realer, playing with the millions and it turned me to a maid. Anywhere in the cash, I reacted when they played with them. Statements got retracted when spread it cause we sprayed. Mafioso, sipping low balls, jumping off the chopper to the yacht. Off the Gold Coast, we was sold choppers on the block, selling cocoa. Now we treating models like they thought, selling Soho.
Listen, Meek Mill. That's some cuts, right? Meek Mill is mob music. I feel like when you get in your car and you about to bust a mission, old school terminology, and you just got to turn it on and he gets you hype, he gets you ready to go get into whatever nefarious activity you might be getting into. I think you play Meek Mill. I feel like also the Maybach music. I want to be a tag. I want somebody to pin me and like, Jill, do my tag. I don't know what it would be, but I think I could do that. I told you guys, I am featured on a rapper's skit on an album. So, I think I could be a tag. I could be somebody's tag. I like that. So before we came forward, we were talking about Kodak Black and his music and his rap. Andy reminded me that the song he was playing, that is it Bodak Yellow? What is Bodak Yellow? Okay, that is Kodak Black's song, which obviously Cardi B flipped. No, Cardi B's is Bodak Yellow. What is Kodak's called?
The song that I play with Kodak Black, the name of that song is No Flocking.
No Flocking. Okay, that's right. Which Cardi turned into Bodak Yellow, which we know set it off and set the stage for everything else. So Andy was reminding me that Kodak had beef with Cardi over that. He, wanted to get at her, felt that he should be compensated because she took his flow. So I have a question for you, Andy. What I want to know is, can you, not literally, but do you think that flow is copyrighted? Because I think there are some instances where people definitely have their own flow. And early in rap, we talked a lot about biters and style thing. But I feel like, with people trying to incorporate different styles and pay homage and interlopes and all of those things, is that still a valid argument for hip hop?
I think nowadays you can make the case about that. I remember, what was it, Behind the Music with Vanilla Ice?
Yep.
And they had the whole situation about just one little part of the beat.
Right, when he was going ding, 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 but ours went doom, doom, like.
I mean, like little stuff like that, I would not be surprised if somebody had an issue. You took my flow, even though the words are completely different.
I think it's a lot harder. I mean, we are 50 years deep into hip hop, but, a solid 30, 35 into the core of sort of what it is. We've even, spread out to different genres of hip hop. You don't see that. Well, I guess maybe you do in rock and roll. I guess if you count metal as kind of separated out from rock. But with largely other genres of music, you don't see it continue to divide and dive down like that. I think it says a lot about hip hop's growth. But I do wonder, as we continue to evolve, as far as styles and flow, like, do people think anybody that does a voice is, especially if it's a female, are they on their Nicki Minaj? Is Nicki the only one that can switch up flow and do things like that? Is that biting from her?
People was doing that before Nicki.
I agree. I mean, you could even look at somebody like Slick Rick as an originator.
Ludacris.
Dana Dane. True. Was Kendrick doing it before Nicki?
I don't know if he was doing it before Nicki, but I do know that he definitely switches his voice from time to time.
I mean, for sure. I always think, did you ever listen to Buried Alive?
Who's that?
Kendrick on his first song on the Drake album. Remember, we talked about it a couple weeks ago.
I did not listen to it, and now you reminded me. I'm gonna go ahead and listen to it again.
Please do. When you mentioned about the switching voices, that's what made me think of that, because he is doing the different the different voice flow on that. So that's just a question for my hip hop heads. You let me know. Hit me up. Social media in the chat. Let me know what you think about that. Is there still do you think about a flow and lock in and say, somebody can't do it? Especially when you think about one of our top superstars currently, Drake, who every album has a different, I won't say aesthetic. We overuse that word anyway, but a different theme, shall we say, or something that he's drawing from to influence. Think about what he did for the Migos and Versace when he hopped on that. Speaking of the Migos, I can't let the night go by without saluting Takeoff, sending condolences to their family. I'm sure that this is a rough holiday for them. I can't believe it's been a year. That time really flew by. So, rest peacefully, Takeoff. That was a tragedy. Okay, and in other hip-hop news, so Jeezy is leaving Def Jam after 20 years, right? He's still going to be an independent artist. And this Friday, he is dropping a double album. And the title, some are speculating, might be influenced, might be inspired by his recent divorce filing. The title of the album is I Might Forgive, But I Don't Forget. So it contains 29 tracks, right? And it features production from ATL Jacob, Ricky Polo, Q Beats, and Hendrix. The second side is going to be produced entirely by the Justice League, right? So if you know a little bit about that, there's history there. So we're going to see what Jeezy's bringing from us. I can't remember the last time he dropped an album. I don't know. Are we still waiting for Jeezy to come back? Not like that. That's not a diss. I'm just wondering, because we do talk a lot, or at least I have been talking about lately. Nas mentioned he wanted to see more older rappers rap and put out music for the love of it, not just hopping on trends. And we are seeing an interesting shift. Well, not a shift. Shift is probably a bad word, but we are seeing, some changes as far as hip hop and the artists and the age range that are still allowed to move units. So we'll have to see what Jeezy's giving. I don't know though.
Meek and Rick Ross are gonna resurrect hip hop.
You think so?
Yeah, this record that I just played, banger.
Yeah, it was.
And then they got another record that they just dropped called Lyrical Easy, another banger.
Have to check that out.
And they're just, those are the first two songs off of the album. I don't know when the album's gonna drop, but just listening to them two records right there, it's definitely giving me hope. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the last of a dying breed, and I like what they're presenting.
So you think they can bring it back?
I think they can, or at least for
be
them.
Shaq and Kobe, like they said.
Yeah, okay. Low key.
We are going to have to see. I'm curious to see what happens with that. Okay, so listen. There's an actress that starred in Bridgerton. Her name is Ruby Baker. And she has come out recently and slammed the producers of Bridgerton, including Shonda Rhimes and her production company, for what she feels is a lack of support for her. So apparently the actress suffered 2 psychotic breaks while she was filming the series, and she is battling serious mental health issues. In a recent podcast interview, she talked about the industry and acting. She's 26 years old, and she said that while playing Maria Thompson, that she was struggling, really, and that the creators and producers of the show didn't reach out to her during those time periods. She said that the experience has taken a negative toll on her, and that the role as well, She said, not a single person from Netflix, not a single person from Shondaland, since I have had 2 psychotic breaks from that show, have even contacted me or even emailed me to ask if I'm okay or if I could benefit from any sort of aftercare or support. Nobody. Barker took the role as a regular in the show's first season and returned as a guest actor for season 2. And in it, her character is a cousin of Featherington, and she tries to hide her out of wedlock pregnancy. She claimed that the isolated role wasn't good for her and her mental state, and it began to decline while filming season 1 of the series. She said, during filming, I was deteriorating. It was really tormenting for me to be in that space because the character was very alienated, very ostracized. And under those horrible circumstances, it wasn't good. She said that her first psychotic break took place in 2019, a week after production for season 1 wrap. She said that she was allegedly hospitalized for a year and the incident was kept on the low. She said seemingly so that the show's premiere ratings wouldn't be impacted. She said, in the run-up to the show coming out, I was just coming out from the hospital. And her following on Instagram was going up. So they wanted to keep it on the low. Here's the thing. I do feel for her. Of course, you want to feel that every job, every position that you are cared about, that the people you are working with are like family. But we know that that is not the case. And again, I ask, and I'm unsure, maybe I am wrong, right? But one, it sounds like maybe the entertainment industry might not be the right business for her. There's a lot of rejection in it, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things that we are going through, and it's not for everybody, right? So I don't know. What is the expectation as far as your workplace and them getting involved in your personal affairs? Because it's a hard question. Sure, they should be concerned. They absolutely should inquire about your welfare. And if there are services that they offer, you should be able to take advantage of them. But how deep, and I ask this often, how deeply do you want your employer involved in your mental health issues? If you got benefits, you got benefits. But how much do you want them aware? How involved do you want them giving their opinion? I mean, that seems like a slippery slope for me. We want care, but again, I don't know. For me, there has to be a balance, and I don't know that I would have as much expectation from my place of employment that she does, just because it's a business and work has to go on. Sure, if you've developed close relationships with people, absolutely, but I don't know. But good luck to her. I hope that she is in a much better place mentally and that it all comes together. When we come forward, we will have more trending topics and headlines. We are winding down. It is almost the end of All Hallows Eve, y'all. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
King C. Gillette knows you're dedicated to your barbershop routine, but how do you maintain the beard hair you already have? The King C. Gillette Beard Thickener helps to reduce patchiness and strengthens hair's resilience to breakage. Apply the King C. Gillette Beard Thickener daily to see a thicker and fuller beard in just 14 days. It's highly scented with King C. Gillette's signature scent. Just trim, wash, and soften. With King C. Gillette.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your Black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Nissan has a car for every driver who wants more. More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. A couple of Halloween costumes I missed since we're almost at the end of the night. One thing that I forgot to mention was Haley Bailey and her boyfriend DDG. We saw them dressed up as Janet and Tupac from Poetic Justice, but their second set of costumes, again, all in photo shoot and maybe a little Photoshop added to it, I thought was kind of funny, but I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be laughing at that. They dressed up as Whitney and Bobby. You know, some of the scenes from, it looked like maybe being Bobby Brown, and then, you know, the part where maybe, I don't know if it was the famous scene when Bobby came out of jail and Whitney jumped up into his arms or whatever, hugging. I think they did one of them. They did them at the Billboard Awards and something else. So shout out to them. Everybody's so creative. Also, shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. She was a gremlin. We know Megan is an animation geek, so to speak, proudly. So makes sense that she would go with the character. She's green and everything. I wonder what her actual costume looks like. Willie Ellis in the chat says, and he's going back to our conversation about, you know, drug use and artists, like the guy that played the Joker in The Dark Knight, it will change him. Yeah, Heath Ledger. I had to stop for a minute and think about it. You know, that role really did. It's a really dark role. Jack Nicholson talked about how it messed with him a little bit, and he gave some advice to Heath Ledger. I guess if you are a method actor in that way and you really dive into your roles, then yeah, you know, it is definitely going to have an impact on you if you like take on those characters in that way and really dive into them and live life as such. There's an actor named Jeremy Strong, Emmy winner. He was on Succession, and I interviewed him. He was in this movie. I'm blanking on the name of it, but gosh, I'm blanking on the name of it. Came out a couple of years ago. It was sort of based on the Huey Newton trial and Bobby. Can't remember I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to think of it and I'm going to tell you in a second. But when I was interviewing him, Aaron Sorkin was the director for this. It was his first film that he directed. And Jeremy and Aaron both talked about how the experience was unpleasant to a degree working together because Jeremy is a method actor and he really, really gets into his role. So if he's a contentious personality, it's going to show. And I suppose for some, it can be hard to work through that. Okay, listen, I mentioned this story earlier that I was going to talk about it. Do you DoorDash? If you do, you better get ready to make sure that when you place your order, you tip, meaning before you get it. Because if not, you're going to be getting your food a little slower. So, according to The Verge, DoorDash is now rolling out some consequences for people who don't tip. It says that when $0 is placed in the tip option, orders with no tip may take longer to be delivered. And it asks you, are you sure you want to continue? Since DoorDashers obviously can pick and choose their orders that they want to do, orders that take longer to be accepted by Dashers tend to result in slow delivery. And slow delivery happens, or bypassing, if they see the expected amount that they will get at the end of this delivery. So it prioritizes for them. Well, it allows them to prioritize, making more money, or at least seeing the people that make more money. But I think that's kind of unfair, because sometimes you tip ahead of time and you get your food and it's stuff missing. Looks like they may have been chewing out of your bag or things of that, or they do stupid things. I remember recently this happened, not with DoorDash, but with Uber Eats. My driver, I said, leave it outside. And he left it outside, but like literally on the ground, not on the steps, not on the little place where the plants grow, on the floor. Why would you do that? Why would you just put somebody's food on the ground? And that's not what they said. They left specific instructions. So, I mean, not that I would necessarily take my tip back, but, maybe if I was tipping $7, he might have got $5. I don't know. But I think it's unfair to penalize the customer and have them tip before they receive the service. That kind of seems backwards to me, like you're putting the cart before the horse. Again, back to this customer service thing. I feel like in 2023, we don't really understand customer service. Well, that is our Halloween show, VIPs. Thank you so much for clocking in with Cruella. That girl Jill, she'll be back on the mic tomorrow. So make sure you are locked in 9 p.m. for RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. On the other side, the best of KBLA. I hope you enjoyed your All Hallows Eve night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
It's close to me.